33. We're just a few minutes past 8:30, which was the start time here. But obviously the anticipation building as Erendira Wallenda, it seems, is about to attach herself to that hula hoop, to that lyra. Nick Wallenda there getting into the chopper. And Melissa, I think this is about to start.
And yeah, and as Erendira gets on the lyra, she'll be riding that over the falls, and then the chopper will hover in place over the falls where she will do that routine. A few minutes long, it'll be some sort of acrobatic routine. She'll actually be hanging by her toes from the lyra, and at that point, as she's hanging by her toes, that's when she will get her mouth guard into place. She's supposed to detach her carabiner from her waist and attach the carabiner with her mouth guard. And that's when she will do her stunt, 10, 20, possibly 30 seconds. I should point out there is a lot of media, a big crowd here on the roof of the garage of the Seneca Niagara Casino, and we have liftoff. Let's watch. As Erendira is preparing herself on her hula hoop, her lyra, Nick is literally hanging out of the top of the chopper, looking down at her, watching her every move. His headset is attached to the headset of the pilot, so he's communicating with the pilot, not with Erendira herself. And away from Erendira, and off they go. Good luck to her as she tries to break a world record, hanging by her teeth 300 feet above Niagara Falls.
All right, and we have a series of live cameras. We're going to be able to follow that helicopter as it heads over to the falls. It's not a very long trip, obviously, from the top of the Seneca Niagara Casino over the Horseshoe Falls, and you can see in the distance there the chopper has taken off. Melissa, you and I both covered Nick Wallenda's stunt 5 years ago. I feel as nervous now as I was kind of before Nick was ready to take that first step. You imagine what's going through their minds right now.
No, and it's quite the role reversal. I mean, Erendira was there when Nick did this 5 years ago, biting her nails every step of the way, literally across the falls. And Nick is now by her side. They are each other's rock, they say. They've been together since they were born. Erendira was 3 months old when she first met Nick. He was 3 years old. They both come from a long lineage of circus performers. Their families performed together when they were 14 years old, and that's when the two really started to fall in love. And ever since then, they have stood by each other's side. Nick said through tragedy and triumph, Erendira has always been there for him, and now he's there for her, making sure that she is safe while she tries to break this world record over Niagara Falls.
Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong. Did I see a second chopper that was behind the chopper that Erendira is on? Is there another chopper perhaps getting video of this, or did I see double vision there?
Yes, it is a second chopper. It is hovering behind or following behind and slightly above. I can't see from my vantage point what chopper that is. It may just be for, you know, an alternate view that the Wallendas have asked to be there. Not quite sure what that helicopter is, but it's actually flying past, and that helicopter is going closer to the falls right now and faster. The Wallendas helicopter is a little bit slower right now. Just so you know, Erendira will actually be doing her stunt above the mist, so everyone should be able to see it pretty clearly. Now that second chopper is in place hovering over the falls right now, and Erendira's helicopter will be arriving there momentarily. But again, her stunt is above the mist, so everyone should be able to see it. And of course, we've got lots of different camera angles on Channel 2 right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Melissa. Let's bring our Pete Gallivan into the conversation here. Pete is, that is Pete's live camera. Pete, quite the view as they are right now approaching the falls and right over the mist.
Yeah, Michael, this view comes as advertised, no doubt about it. And I can talk about that second chopper. Actually, Nick Wallenda discussed yesterday when they were talking about the price tag of this event and where some of the expenses. And someone mentioned, I thought the helicopter pilot was donating his services, and he said, well, the pilot with the photographer is the pilot with the photographer is donating his services. So I'm assuming that second chopper has got a camera in it and is documenting all of this. Right now, though, Erendira and the helicopter that's also carrying Nick Wallenda is hovering above the Horseshoe Falls. They will be hovering at about 300 feet, breaking Nick's old record of 200 feet above the ground, hanging from a helicopter and balancing and dangling from his teeth. But once again, it's off in the distance, so I don't really have a good vantage point through my eyes at the aerial display that's going on right now. Hopefully the camera is picking up a little more detail.
Yeah, Pete, obviously we have the telephoto lens on the cameras right now zoomed in, and presumably at this moment Erendira Wallenda is a new world record holder because she has now begun her performance 300 feet above Niagara Falls, breaking her husband's old record by 100 feet. She has started the routine about a minute into it now. Remember, she has earbuds in, she's listening to music, she has choreographed all that she is doing. Right now, just an incredibly beautiful performance. Obviously, she is extremely acrobatic. She's described as a ballerina in the air, and right now she is, hanging, I believe, mostly from her arms. There she goes with just the knees stretching down. Just an incredible sight to see when you step back and think about this. A lot of people have gathered right now at Terrapin Point, nearby to where Pete is at the observation deck, obviously to see this in person. Pete, what are you seeing as far as crowds there? And I know you guys are a little bit farther away, so maybe this just kind of looks like something going on in the distance, but still pretty cool to see.
Well, we've got a good vantage point on Terrapin Point, and that's where I was 5 years ago for Nick's walk above the water. And actually, Erendira is right now balancing above where Nick was walking, and the crowds are obviously nothing close to that. They were talking about 100,000 then, but across the border, you're not seeing many people on the Canadian side, just a few gathering along the wall, and not very many on the American side either. But Nick also talked about that yesterday. He said it's not about the people that are here. They timed this in the morning, so they got exposure on the network morning shows, obviously the local morning shows, and then coverage throughout the day, both web coverage, broadcast coverage, and then in the papers the next day. So this is a very strategic time that they've planned out for this event to get the most exposure, because he said that the most important thing is promoting the falls, a place that he fell in love with as a 6-year-old boy when his parents brought him up here when they came to perform in the Shrine Circus down in the Odd. So it's a very special moment, not only for Erendira and Nick, but the entire Wallenda family.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a little more than 3 minutes now into this performance. The highlight of it, what is most advertised, is that she is going to hang using only her mouth from that helicopter, and that presumably will happen in the next few moments. That may last just a few seconds. Erendira said up to 30 seconds if she's feeling really good about it. As Melissa Holmes told us earlier, they had a little bit of a last-minute hiccup in some of the training as far as detaching part of the equipment and then reattaching it. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this happens. Remember, this is happening over top of Niagara Falls, and so it's a good distance away from where our cameras are able to be located. So this is as close as we can zoom in right now. Remember, there is a couple of cameras attached to the bottom of that helicopter, and there is a second helicopter. So here's hoping that the Wallendas will share some of that incredible footage with us later as well. But what a sight to see. Erendira Wallenda hanging 300 feet right now over Niagara Falls, still in the middle of her performance. She's been doing a lot of kind of acrobatic moves, and it does seem, like she is moving the carabiner right now, preparing to do, again, what will be the highlight of this performance, using that mouth guard to hang from this helicopter. I know for the people who are there in person, unless they brought binoculars, which would have been a great idea, kind of difficult to see. So luckily, for those of you watching here on Channel 2 or on WGRZ.com or our app. We have a few vantage points here to try to bring you this moment live, and I believe we are about to witness the moment. And there it is, Erendira Wallenda hanging from a helicopter 300 feet over Niagara Falls, using only that mouth guard, using her mouth, an incredible feat, breaking her husband's old record and doing it with such grace and style. Look at that. She's still got the music playing in her ears, all part of the routine. We got that for what, about 10 seconds. You think of the talent that it takes to do something like that, even for just those few short moments as her routine continues now. Pete, were people able to tell from your vantage point there when that special moment happened?
I can't really tell very much. It seems like the people, there wasn't really a reaction from the crowds here. So we're at such a distance that, as you mentioned, anyone without binoculars is kind of getting a silhouette. But it's still remarkable just to see her hanging above the falls. And I think actually, you know, who's getting the best view of this right now, other than our television audience and our on-air, our online audience, are the Canadian and the U.S. Maids of the Mist, are right in the midst of the tide pool beneath the falls, and they're getting a fantastic view of this spectacle high above Niagara Falls, 300 feet up. And it's just, again, Nick talked about the crowds here aren't, the numbers here aren't as important as the numbers watching in from around the world.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. And this wasn't advertised as much on the Canadian side. This was done entirely with the permission of officials here on the American side. The Wallendas have a great connection with Niagara Falls, New York, with New York State. And they really wanted on this 5th anniversary of Nick's history-making stunt to do something special. And that's what we're witnessing here as she is hanging there using only her feet after moments ago using only that mouth guard. Pretty incredible. She's been doing this for almost her entire life. Interestingly enough, Mrs. Wallenda had said before that she never walked a tightrope until she was 18. So her specialty really is this kind of ballerina in the air act. She comes from a long line of acrobats, 8 generations on one side of her family, 7 generations on the other. And so this is a long family tradition, and Erendira Wallenda certainly making the family proud with this performance right now as she continues 300 feet over Niagara Falls. Presumably this is going to go on for a couple more minutes. We are several minutes now into this performance. The helicopter will then return to the top of the Seneca Niagara Casino. We're going to be able to hear from her on what this moment was like. You know, when you think about the Wallenda family, Nick is often known as the star, and Erendira certainly taking the spotlight today. We believe she was doing something with her mouth there again. So I don't know if she's going to perhaps hang using just the mouth guard again. Yeah, as she continues her routine here, again with such grace and style, and you think of just the challenges of something like this. I mean, she's hanging from a helicopter, you've got the mist below, you've got the wind. Yeah. And right now it appears that the helicopter is moving farther over Niagara Falls. Most of this happened kind of very close to Terrapin Point, to the American side. It does seem now like they are going over toward the middle of the falls. Pete Gallivan, you can see the helicopter moving closer to Canada there.
Yeah, she's directly in the heart of the horseshoe right now, above that mist plume. You can get a great vantage point from our camera here, and you know, it's amazing because, as you mentioned, the lineage of these two families, Erendira's and Nick's, a combined 22 generations of flying Wallendas, if you will. But and this is great. She's actually coming down. The chopper is coming down the Niagara River, and it is approaching the American Falls, and she continues to perform her aerial ballet And she says that's what she is, an aerial ballerina. And she's showing every bit of it right now. The crowd here on the observation deck, as well as the sidewalk below the observation deck, getting a great vantage point. And for the first time, really hearing the choppers as well. But as you can see, it looks like she's kind of wrapping up her act, doing a few more moves as they head back toward the Seneca Niagara Casino. They followed the river over on their way toward the Horseshoe Falls, and they're following back along and making sure that everyone along the way still has a bit of that show. You've got to feel that, you know, the tense and the nerves.
Oh, and we just lost Pete's shot there for just a moment. We'll switch over to another vantage point. They must have heard in the helicopter that Channel 2's Pete Gallivan didn't bring his binoculars with him and wanted kind of a close-up view, and Erendira Wallenda certainly did that as she continues her routine. We're a little more than 10 minutes into the performance when she actually got over the Horseshoe Falls and started this beautiful ballerina in the air performance. And as you can see now, they are heading back to the rooftop of the Seneca Niagara Casino. That is where Channel 2's Melissa Holmes has been live all morning long. Melissa, I know you were a little distance away from the performance, so it may have just looked like a dot in the sky, but the helicopter heading back toward you now.
Yeah, not even a dot, Michael. We couldn't see a thing, so we definitely pulled the short straw as far as seeing her historic performance. But we see her now. The helicopter is approaching the top of the roof of the garage of the Seneca Niagara Casino. Erendira is sitting in her Lyra there. We're excited to speak with her afterwards. As soon as she gets off the chopper, she will be getting in place to speak with all of us, the media, here on the roof to tell us how she's feeling. She anticipates that her jaw will be tight, that her neck will be sore, where the spinal cord meets the base of her neck. She knows that will not feel good, but hopefully she is pleased with her performance. This has been years in the making. Nick said they were planning a 5-year anniversary performance since right after his walk. Now they want to start planning the 10-year anniversary performance. Perhaps it would not be individual with either Nick or Erendira, but maybe the two of them together this time.
That would certainly be something to see, no doubt. She made it look so easy, which is what is so interesting about this, because you think of just the challenge of doing what she just did. Obviously, she is a world record holder. There's no one else in the world who's ever done anything of this magnitude. She was 300 feet over the Horseshoe Falls, hanging from a helicopter using only that mouth guard. And she is now safely back on the rooftop of the Seneca Niagara Casino. You can see the embraces. There she is with her husband, Nick. Seems, Melissa, like this went exactly as planned.
There we go. A kiss and a hug. What a moment. I'm sure a lot of relief and a lot of emotion. Looks like